Hi, my name is Leani. Many of you may not know this, but there's a war against families in the United States. The perpetrators are a government agency known as the Child Protective Services, also known as CPS. CPS has kidnapped children illegally from innocent parents across the country. Children that have been abducted by CPS have either been harmed or are now missing in their care. Children have also been killed under CPS care when placed in foster homes. Statistics have shown that more children are human trafficked and or killed by government agencies rather than their own parents. Why all this? For Title 4E funding. Some may ask, how do you know about all of this? Well, the reason is I've lived through it and I've survived it. What you are about to witness are real-life testimonies from families who have also survived this.
I know you don't know me, and that is why I am here, to tell you a little bit about me. I am what people call a lifelong victim of the state system. I was taken by CPS as a 5-year-old child in 1990 and placed in mental facilities because they didn't have foster homes back then. Within these facilities, we were physically, mentally, verbally, emotionally, and sexually abused. We also were forced to take medications we did not need. As a result, I now have PTSD, OCD, borderline personality disorder, and anxiety disorder. All of these are incurable. I also am a parent victim of this system in CPS and family court. My 3 sons were unlawfully taken from me, and the pain is unbearable. It's like my heart's been ripped out, my life's been taken away from me. To the left of me is my youngest son's baby swing that he never got to use. To the right of me is my older 2 sons' walker that they both used. I would do anything just to see them again, let alone get them home. I lost my rights last November in 2015. And I am here because no kid should have to live with the lifetime of pain and trauma caused by this system that I live with. Thank you.
For protection purposes, her face will be scrambled, and we are going to call her Jane Doe. Hey, Jane.
Hi,
How old are you?
I'm 10 years old.
What do you know about CPS?
I know a lot of things about them.
Wow, are they good people, bad people?
Bad people.
Oh, wow. Have you had any experience with CPS?
Yes, I did.
What kind of experience did you have?
I had experience and stuff with them taking away my 17-year-old sister.
Wow, you watched them take your sister away?
Yep, I sure did.
What did you see?
I saw the ambulance, the fire department, the police, CPS, all those 4 people.
Was CPS nice when they were taking your sister away?
No, one of them lied to me. They said that they were just gonna bring her go to the hospital and check her out, and bring her back the next day. But she didn't come back the next day.
Oh, wow. I bet you that was very heartbreaking to you. I am really sorry. I know a lot of adults, especially CPS, can be really big liars.
Yes.
Wow. So was your sister crying? Was she happy when she was getting taken away?
No, she was really sad, screaming. She tried to get out of her wheelchair, but they caught her and put her in one of those hospital beds, a gurney.
Oh, wow. And what did you do? Were you just watching everything?
Yeah. My mom couldn't help because CPS said if she helps, they'll put my mom to jail.
Oh, wow. You shouldn't have had to hear. That was very inappropriate for you to have to hear something like that. Wow. So, was your sister gone for a long time?
Yes, at least 3 months.
Wow, that's a long time. Did you get to visit your sister?
Yes, at least 3 times.
Did you get to see your sister right away, or it took a little while?
Took a little while.
When you saw her, where did you get to see her at? At the ice cream store?
No, I got to see her in the lobby.
In the lobby at the ice cream store?
No,
No?
in Children's Village.
Oh, you had to go to a juvenile jail to visit your sister?
Yes, I
Wow.
did.
Was it pretty in there at least?
No.
Was it creepy?
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of other children there?
Yes, babies, toddlers, kids like my age and stuff, teenagers.
Was everybody happy having a party in there?
No, they were sad. Their clothes were kind of ripped up.
Wow. So these children that were under their care were wearing ripped up clothes and sad.
Yes.
That is very heartbreaking. So, did your sister ever get to come back home?
Yes, she did.
Okay. Did CPS ever visit you?
Yes, they did at school 1,000,000 times.
1,000,000 times? I don't know if they came 1,000,000 times, did they?
Well, they didn't, but they came a lot of times, though, at least 6 or 5 times.
Wow. So you were at school studying and they kept visiting you up there.
Yes.
Why do you think they kept visiting you up there?
I have no idea. Like, before all this CPS started, a CPS person came to visit me at my school. Like, when I was doing math, the office called me down, and I was talking to the CPS person, and the CPS person was telling me inappropriate questions like, do your parents drink? Do your parents hit your children? Do your parents
A lot of personal questions they were asking you,
Yes.
huh? Oh, that's pretty hard for you to have to answer on your own.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. So you said your sister's back home with you, right?
Yes.
Did you get to be a family again?
No.
Why? What happened?
So CPS said me and my mom had to go to a hotel.
What? You had to leave your house?
Yeah, I had to leave all my toys, my puppy, my
Oh,
bed, my
no.
room, my dog.
How did that make you feel?
It made me feel sad. I was crying and stuff.
But were you happy to be with your mom?
Yeah,
Okay. Wow. So how long did you stay at a hotel for?
at least a month.
Okay.
1
So you came back home. Were you happy to be back home after a month?
Yes.
Were you a family again?
No.
Why? What happened now?
My CPS and the judge said that my mom had to sleep in the trunk. The trunk in the back of the truck.
Or did they just say your mom couldn't come back home and your mom chose to sleep in the truck because she ran out of money?
Yes.
Okay. But from what I understand, sounds like that must have been, how did you feel knowing that your mom was sleeping in a car?
I was sad. I couldn't sleep at night and stuff.
Were you worried about your mommy?
Yes, very worried.
Wow, I bet you wanted your family to be back together.
Yes.
Wow. And are you in therapy now?
Yes, I am.
Why are you in therapy?
I'm in therapy because to get all the trauma and talk about the stuff, what's going on
With who?
with my therapist
About?
CPS.
Oh. So before all this happened, did you have to go to therapy?
No.
So because of what CPS and what you saw and what they did, you're now in therapy?
Yes.
Oh, well, I hope everything goes good. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing better.
And-
My family's all back together.
Oh,
and stuff.
that must feel great to have your family back together.
It is.
And how's your mom doing?
She's doing good.
I bet you love her a lot, huh?
Yep.
That's awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
I am a mom of 5 beautiful boys who are my whole world. I was meant to be a mom, and everything I do is for those boys. 2 years ago, my 4-month-old son had a surgery and then followed with a routine x-ray. That routine x-ray determined that there was a fracture. And a doctor who read that x-ray, who never met myself or never met my kids, ruled that that fracture must have been or may have been caused by non-accidental trauma. With that one report, the state of Michigan was able to come in and remove all 5 of my children from my home and file termination of parental rights. I have never been part of the system, but I always believed that the system was innocent until proven guilty. I learned in family court that is not the case. In family court, you need to prove yourself innocent, and that's what I did. For 3 months, I did everything for my children to get my children back. After 8 doctor's reports revealing multiple reasons why my son would have those fractures, we were able to get our kids back and our case dismissed. Many cases are not the same way, but I spend every day, every night, reminding my oldest that this would not happen again and that I will protect them with my whole might. So don't let this happen to you. Medical kidnapping does exist.
Hi again. When I was 16 years old, I had become very ill. It was to the point where I could no longer stay at home, and I had to remain in the hospital for extended periods of time. It was weird though. I was healthy my entire life, but the moment I turned 16, that's when everything started to go downhill with my health. It also affected my schooling, because I was in the hospital so much. It was hard though, trying to be a normal teen battling with these issues, and that was very hard on me and my family. No doctors knew what it was. They didn't know how to treat it, they didn't know how to diagnose it. So we had to live day in and day out wondering, will I ever get better again? It was kind of hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And then the time came where doctors began to believe that it was a psychological problem. But there were tests that did show that I could not have made any of this up in my head. But some doctors did not want to believe those tests. They sent me to some counselors and some psychiatrists to make sure that it was not a mental disorder. And after visiting those psychiatrists and counselors, they all concluded that no, it was not a mental disorder and that my symptoms were very real. And so that's what we left with. And then some doctors at a hospital we went to, they did not want to accept that it was not a mental problem. They wanted to prescribe me some medications to stop any mental disorder. So my family, we said no, there was nothing psychologically wrong with me, that I was fine, that it was mainly a physical problem, not a mental one. And what did the doctors do? They called the Child Protective Services, or CPS, and they told them, the CPS, that this kid is in danger because the parents will refuse this treatment of the child. And then when I came home from the hospital, they were right there at our doorstep. And they just came in, they saw us, they did a house check. Everything was fine, we thought. Nothing wrong. And then a couple of days later, they showed up after a guitar lesson. And when they came during my guitar lesson, they said, they told my mom, we're going to take your child away. And then my mom told me, and I was in complete shock. The big question that I wanted to ask was why? Why were you taking me away? And the lady said, we're taking you away because your mom took you to the doctor too much, which is also known as Munchausen by proxy. And the doctors at the hospital who called CPS said that I had a conversion disorder, and they wanted to treat it by using psycho medications to treat it with. But the psychiatrists and the different counselors, they all said, no, she doesn't have any mental disorders. And so I tried to explain that to the worker while she was when she was there with me when I saw her the first time. And I guess she didn't believe it, and the hospital really felt that I was in danger because my parents refused a medication that I did not need. But while I was being removed, I was crying hysterically. My family was losing it. It felt like they had a SWAT team and I was a criminal. They brought firefighters, police officers. They basically brought everything that you'd see when a criminal is being arrested for something. I did not know how to take this. There were tons of police officers everywhere. I was scared because I felt like, did I do something wrong? Was I getting in trouble because I was sick? But no, they were taking me away from a family who truly loved me and cared for me. I knew it deep down in my heart that they'd never do anything to hurt me, but the doctors and the courts, I guess, were not so convinced. So they took me to a hospital before I was placed in any center for any shelter, I mean. I was there at a hospital for a few days. I was crying hysterically. I was honestly trying to leave that place because, like, what was ironic, they said I was in the hospital and I went to see doctors too much. But the question was, why are you putting me in a hospital now if I went too much before? I had such a hard time at that hospital. The child life there tried their best to help keep me calm, but that wasn't enough because I wanted to know what was going on with my family. Was my younger siblings okay? What was going on? Are my parents okay? Are they in trouble? Are they in jail? No one could answer any of my questions. I was 17 at the time. I just turned 17. And that's the age where everyone expects you to be an adult. But the problem was, no one was even looking at me like I was an adult. They were looking at me like I was a 3-year-old who was being taken away from their parents. And they treated me as such. It had gotten a little bad to the point at the hospital where they had to restrain me to the bed. And I was just like, why? My biggest question to everything is why? And I kept asking myself, what did I do that was so bad to deserve all of this? And the answer was nothing. You just got sick. It affected everything. And then after the hospital, social workers took me to what was known as Children's Village. The village is a juvenile detention center, and I was placed in the boys' detention center. Why? I don't know. They claimed it was their medical center because at the time I was on a feeding tube and in a wheelchair. But they didn't know how to care for me. They had to ask me how to care for me. And these were apparently certified nurses. If you were a certified nurse, you'd know how to run a feeding machine, and you'd know how a wheelchair is supposed to be pushed. The facility was, I wouldn't say it was an appropriate place for any person to be. White walls, white floors, rusted metal. There were bugs crawling all over the floor, spiders in the bathtub, and there was ants all in the vomit pins, crawling all over the beds, and I had to sleep on the floor. It was a very difficult time for me, and I had gotten very depressed in there. It was really bad. A few months have passed. They transferred me to the actual children's center. It was a bit more colorful than what I had originally gotten, but it was not the same. I was away from my parents, and we were still in a place where there were actual status offenders, where all the shelter kids and the status offenders were mixed together under one roof. It was not the best, but I'd take that over the medical place that they put me. But then a few months passed, they let me go. And one thing I do remember from being released back to my parents is that they said, your parents aren't good for you. They're the ones that made you sick. Everyone in the facility, my worker, their psychiatrists, their counselors, they all try to convince me, your parents try to make you sick for attention or for money. But the problem was, it wasn't them. It wasn't my parents. Fast forward 2 years later, now that I'm 18, I finally have diagnosis. I finally know the reason why. It's not psychological. It was something that no doctor had attempted to test. It's great. I'm being treated now. I'm with my family. I am now better than ever. And because someone actually looked for the problem and not just assumed something and called. While in court, the worker changed the reason for removal twice. First, it was the Munchausen by proxy, which means that the parents take the kid to a doctor too much. But then they changed it to medical neglect, which means the parents didn't take the child to any doctor's appointments. And what was weird, those two reasons, they're like fire and ice, completely different things. And the fact that the worker herself changed it, it was not right. If you would like to know how to stop this, please contact your local state representative and let them know that this is a problem. And to find more information on these illegal child removals, please go to medicalkidnap.com or americastaken.com. I know some will say CPS is not a problem, and they are some of the best things that have happened for the protection of children. I do agree that CPS is needed for some children, but not for all. And that is something that needs to be regulated. That a child removal, an unethical or illegal removal, can occur to any child. And that needs to be stopped. Thank you for watching my video, and have a great day. Thank you.